Okay, welcome back to the Freedom Podcast, everybody. I have on here my good friend Victoria today, and she has graciously agreed to come on and dish and spill tea, and we're going to talk about all kinds of juicy stuff, feminine friendships, politics, religion, all things that we actually talk about every time we hang out. There's a lot going on in the world, and we have a lot to cover. So we're going to try to solve the world's problems in about an hour. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I think we should accomplish it. I have a good feeling about today.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted to have you on was because like we vibe so well. Like from the first time I met you, I was just like, okay, that's like my human. And I think you just like as you get older, you just clearly recognize your tribe. It's just for me like a green light, red light. Like I see people now and I'm just like, yes, you. And also no, not you. But when I met you, I felt like just instant gut opening and like, okay, like this is a divine feminine woman. So I'm glad that we have gotten to know each other. It's been really cool and effortless and free flowing. So I would like to ask you right now, because some people are like either my life is totally effed right now, or I'm living my best life. And I've noticed it's like nowhere in between. So for you, on a scale of 1 to my life is effed, like where are you right now energetically?
Man, if you would have asked me that a week ago or 10 days ago, I would have been like, so we were in the starting the year of the fire horse. And I was like, I'm still like lying face planted, getting trampled by the fire horse. I was still emerging, like trying to get rid of the last layers of that skin and just like uncomfortable and itchy and really just in those final sheds. And now I feel a lot more clearer. I feel a lot more grounded. So I feel that I am either, depending how you want to say it, I am either the horse personified, full charge out of the gate, or I am the jockey on top of the horse, like very free and embodied, just riding hair wild, like in the wind, just like going after life right now. So I'm like one of those two versions.
Amazing. Yeah, I felt like in hibernation mode so far this year. Just really sleepy, dreamy, like ethereal, like good. I'm so grateful everything's good. Really in a stable place in my life and happy, but also just like I just want to nap. I don't want to go out. I just want to stay snuggly. What is like the year of the horse? That's what we're in right now.
Yeah, so the Chinese New Year, so for us, it just started, I believe it was February 18th, if I'm correct. And so we finished off the snake year. Last year, we were in this shedding, this clearing, this releasing of people, things,
Mm.
parts of ourselves that don't serve and are not allowing us to step in and become this embodiment of who we truly are and the life that we desire to have and the version of ourselves that we've been working towards and calling in. So, as we allow ourselves to shed and sort of take those rose colored glasses off and look around, we go, who am I in this life and what serves me? So, in my example I used with that kind of that horse and jockey, it's like when we're stepping into that fire horse year, it's kind of approaching the gate, ready to go. And you're like, who's at the gate with me? Who's ready to take charge of their life, to step in fully and be in their own self mastery? All of the work, all of the time is now into action. And a lot of people were like, yeah, fiery, full steam ahead. And for me, I had so much of that fieriness last year where, similar to you, I'm like, this is my slow and soft girl era, but I'm fiery with very direct intention. Like I am laser focused in on who I am, what I desire, and I'm very clear on like what is or isn't going to be serving. So like when I got to my gate, I was like, you're either with me or you're not. And we're going to be slow and soft, but we are very intentional.
Yes. Ooh, 100%. I love that. And I think we're on similar parallel timelines with the inner work that we've been doing for a long time. And your second birth or your awakening to your purpose, I call it, when you've already like done the inner work and you've been releasing and exploring and honing in on your truth, that I think you can start to flow freely and in that gentleness. But like you said, it's not weak, being gentle, feminine, and really embracing that softness is not the absence of strength. It's actually harder to be soft. Anybody can walk around like, I'm a boss bitch and I'm masculine, and I've been that person. And I've been like, I'm an Aries, so I'm like fire and brimstone. But It takes a lot of constant checking my motivations for me to be stripping away anything that's not really me. I can be authentic and still stand firmly, but with grace. So this year, I'm just really tuned into my creative projects. And instead of last year, I was like, go, 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 travel, more gigs, more dates, like fire away. And now I'm like, no, just creation energy, opening up that space and digging into that beauty of the divine gentleness. I don't want to be so like hard and strong all the time. It's fun to tap into when we have to kick ass, but it's not sustainable to do that full throttle all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, you talking about grace, like, that's so important. It's like the grace that we give ourselves. Like, we know that there's always going to be chapters of hard work, hard lessons. But then it's like, when can we allow ourselves to soften and to be and to allow and also to be held? And that can be held in our
Mm.
partnership, that can be held in our friendships. And also, what kind of friendships are you allowing yourself to be held in? Because being in grace and feminine is soft. And like you said, like, it is so powerful to be, soft and embodied. And for me last year, that's what so much of my journey was. I went on such a deep, feminine embodied journey because that was the biggest piece I was missing in my life. Was I had done all this inner work. I learned how to love myself again, and really, what did that look like, and piece the parts of my heart back together that had been hurt so much from different relationships and, losing loved ones and so many traumas that I had experienced. And I was like, I don't really have a relationship with my sensuality, my femininity. What does like sexuality even mean to me without sex being that predominant force that so many people think about? And I was like, I want to tap into what that is, because for me, like, sensuality, grace, femininity, they're so interwoven together. But like, what does that look like for us as women when we're really embodied?
I love that you went there. This year in particular, I've really been conscious of what does that even look like for me? Embracing, I've always considered myself a very sensual and sexual person, but now I'm really conscious of connecting that with my spiritual beliefs too. I want to give beauty and sensuality. I'm very cautious not to post like thirst traps and stuff online because I feel like that's so much of like, are we looking for validation? And I want to be consciously giving people beauty and beautiful art and beautiful things to look at. Feminine sensuality is different than sleaziness. Like our culture is so, oh, it's just so sad, porn driven, and which creates so much separation. And it has the opposite effect of what people think it does. Like I'm going to, get this quick dopamine hit, but it actually isolates human psyche even further. But rather than being OnlyFans and porn driven, like I want to counterculture, like you can have sensuality and still be connecting people to their divine soul, like you embracing that and showing that to the world, providing people like men and women with a path to beauty, which is a fine line to walk.
Yeah, I was actually just a couple days ago, I was watching this Marilyn Monroe documentary, and some of the things that people were saying about her was she had this, this ease and grace of just how she was in her body. Even if she had no
Mm.
makeup on, people approached her. There was this aura and this effervescence, that she carried. And it was just this magnanimous presence that she held, that she didn't have to try. It was just a state of being, this like I am presence,
Mm.
and that we've lost as a society. Maybe, it's too much social media. Maybe it's too much access to too much. Then we're always comparing and contrasting and being like, we have to be more. There has to be more of this, bigger of that. So maybe where authenticity has been lost with that is we're constantly seeking and comparing, and then waiting for likes and clicks. And the satisfaction is never enough because it's become this external drive instead of this inner knowing and presence, like someone like her has held. And even, like, present day women, whether despite the work they've had done or not, they do carry a lot of confidence. Like I think of like Miley Cyrus as somebody else where she's very grounded in who she is and like has a massive presence in her personality. And, I think a lot of women, we've kind of lost that capacity to just be within our own container.
Mm,
And it's a hard thing to kind of come back home to that. Like you said, you're like, I want to be myself, but how do I share that online without feeling clickbaity that I'm posting thirst traps? And even for myself, I've been wanting to share more about, I've been on this beautiful journey with my own sensuality and tantra and embodiment and empowerment. But I'm like, where do I share that journey without it seeming like I'm over sexualizing anything? Because I've found this confidence, but other people might see it another way. And again, I'm not overly worried too much about them, but I still want to hold myself in a high regard. So there's this like, I want other women to find me and be like, whoa, yeah, like I want that too. Because I don't,
right.
I'm like, this journey for me, I feel I want to share it. That's what's the beauty of the internet and social media and podcasts and all of these other things. So, yeah, it's like, where do we share? How do we share authentically? And then, what is the more shadowy dark side of it?
Yeah, well, I think that when you've gone through the dark night of the soul, as I call it, and really transmuted or rather integrated the ego, I think you integrate those things. And for me, I would just check real quick, like, what's my motivation? What is my intention behind sharing this? I want others to be able to have a shortcut. Like, hey, I took the long road and it was a lot. And if you want to just tap in right here, I can show you what I've learned and we can learn from each other. And I think that's the purpose of humanity, of getting back to our God self and connecting others with their God self. Hopefully, they recognize that in you and they're like, I need this, and the right people will be attracted to you for those reasons. Becoming more and more like involved with my intimacy in my partnership. Last night, for example, I came home and my fiance is not what you would call like technically a romantic human being, but he is working on it for me. Like in our relationship, he's more of like, finance guy, but our journey together has been really beautiful. And so last night we hadn't been connecting because we've been working so much. And I just came home and there were candles everywhere, my favorite little treats. And he had my massage table set up and just gave me a massage. And he got me a card. It was just random little moments of coming together in that beautiful, intimate way. And like you said, like you just want to share your journey because we have to show each other what's possible. Like if I grow up in a trailer park, I never know that it's possible for me to achieve great things. And if I don't see these beautiful homes and the gorgeous ocean, if I grow up in the forest, I don't know that it's possible for me to live on the beach. Like we have to see these things in order for us to believe that they're possible. So I think it's great when you're putting yourself out there and the right people who want that are going to find you.
Yeah, that's the beauty of community. It's like you want to put yourself in the right rooms and sit at the right tables and have the conversations where you're like, what do you have for me? What can I learn from you? Like, what is possible? Because then all of a sudden you're expanding and then your world went from here to here. And
Hmm.
then, what's possible in your relationship, you're like, this exists in the world. Oh, I can connect it with my partner this way. Oh, there's a business opportunity with this. There's a little village off of this island that I can go and hike this mountain. Like what? We don't know unless we put ourselves out there a little bit more. And a lot of doing that is getting uncomfortable. And that's the problem,
Mm.
is a lot of people don't want to be uncomfortable. They are very content with sitting complacent and still. And, for a while, that's nice. But I think that's when people start to get that itch, or, even in relationships, right? People will cheat. And one, there's a lack of communication and speaking vulnerably and truthfully about maybe a desire or something that you have and feeling safe to express. But a lot of it is just like we reach a level in our life where like, is this really it? Like, there's the inner work, but there, and you're like, is this it? Have I plateaued? Do I just wake up every single day and this is what my life looks like? I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I have dinner with my partner. Maybe we'll have sex tonight and then we go to bed. Like, is this life? And is that all we were put here to do? And for me, I've started like last year, really, and maybe over the course of the last couple of years, I'm like, anytime something makes me feel wildly uncomfortable, I'm like, that is the exact room, retreat, place I need to be, or person I need to be talking to. Cause I'm like, there is something there for me, because that is an edge. And anything
Mm.
that is edgy is going to expand me. And that
Right.
is very exciting.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, I'm constantly out of my comfort zone with my job, performing and doing different things like, but I know I've learned that, to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that that's where you grow because you assimilate those new experiences and then your consciousness expands, and like you said, you meet new people. Like, oh my goodness, the people that I've met and the relationships I've formed, and like I'm a huge introvert by nature. So, not shy. You might know this, but most people think introverts are shy or, just sit at home, mutants, can't communicate with people. But it actually just means that our social battery recharges in solitude. So when I'm out into the world, I have to make sure that I go home and recharge and regroup in private, but then I'm ready to come back out again. But it's comfortable for me to be at home, right? Like it's uncomfortable when I go out and I feel so much energy around me and I'm like, oh man, this is overwhelming at times. But every time I do it, I know that I'm able to share what I know, number one. Number two, other people are able to give me all of their insights and the wisdom that they've gleaned throughout life. And like, I feel so much better every time I do something that made me initially uncomfortable. I come back and I'm like, gosh, that was like so soul fulfilling. And I had resistance toward it at first. And I'm so glad that I ignore that resistance and just push through and do it anyways. And you come out richer. You come out like a bigger person, like more connected. And I feel I see God through those experiences. This is probably why we're here, to come back to that divine energy with each other all the time and the connection.
Oh, 100%. I kind of think about it like the metaphor with the ostrich with their head in the sand, and that's kind of us. We're born with this massive connection to God and to spirit because we're little babies just fresh out of the portal,
Mhm.
super connected and aligned with spirit. And then life happens and everyone's like, grow up, be like whatever, society in the world starts to tell us. It's just your imagination, right? Like, first, our imagination is the best thing known to man. And then it's like, stop playing pretend.
Mm.
And there's this crossover. And then we become adults, and all we want is our imagination and our childlike energy back. So we start to like peek our heads out of the sand, finding ourselves again and waking up to God, to consciousness, to spirit, and, sort of seeing behind the curtain to all of this potentiality that we have, that what is our purpose, that what is possible for us, and all of these roads that lie before us, that it's not just one avenue. It's, you can walk this path and change directions as many times as you want. The only thing is, you can't turn around, and you can stand still for a time because we all need rest.
Hmm.
And that, right, that like rechargeness of being the introvert, we all like, it's super healthy. And I always tell my business partner, he makes fun of me, and I was like, I've peopled enough today, like my social battery is
Too
done. And
people-y.
yeah, like no more. And he's Colombian, so there's not enough peopling for him. Like he could mariachi all night long, and I'm just like, social battery is like done. But it's like, we can rest. You just can't turn around. So as long as we keep going and we keep allowing ourselves to believe in the potentiality of life, God is like, let me show you how good it can get then. Like, let me show you what's available to you and the rooms I can put you in. You just have to be willing to be stretched.
Yeah, completely. And I love that, connecting with God really more so this year and last year, more than I ever have before in my life, has really turned things around too. And just asking, and like something I learned in Reiki, 20 years ago was, we always had to say, like, I am ready and willing to change, or I am ready and willing to release what no longer serves me, even though I might not know what that is. I am just ready. I'm ready and willing to do this or to take the next step. And bridging the gap between my past in the esoteric teachings and everything that I've learned there, it really helped me to fill in the blanks that like Christianity left for me. I had a lot of questions and I went through this whole journey, I feel like, around the mountain, but the spiritual or esoteric path actually is what led me back to God and filled in those blanks that I was missing. And now, that I have such a strong, deep connection. I walk hand in hand with God every day. It's so beautiful, and there's so many paths that people can take in life, and people were always going to have their opinions. I remember reading this book by Thich Nhat Hanh back in the day called Living Buddha, Living Christ. And he explains like coming back to God or coming back to yourself, oneness, consciousness as moving up a mountain, right? And we all take these different paths to get to the top. We're all going to get there eventually. But the only ones that are wasting their time are the ones that are running around the foothills going, "You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way." Those are the only people who are not, in fact, getting back to God. There's like infinite paths that you can take in your life. And I feel like as long as you have that intention set out, you can't go backwards. You can stand still for a bit, but eventually we're all going to get back to finding our path. And it feels so good to have that connection and that guidance now that I was always looking for before. And now everything seems effortless that I've actually invoked that Holy Spirit connection. It's amazing. It's a total game changer. And that might be also why I feel so gentle now, too. Like, even though crazy things are happening, like politically, Epstein files, I mean, there's so much darkness, but when you walk with that true connection, your tether is unbreakable.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's like we know with the duality of everything, like we need the darkness to appreciate the light. We need to know these counterpoints always have to happen, and one will always swing one way, but it will never completely tip over one way or another. Like the universe will always be in balance, and like my inner Libra like knows and feels that to her core, because we always like are striving
Yeah.
for our balance. But like I know that, like, the universe is always working towards balance, and it will always find its way back to its natural set point. And I love, you talking about God and the connection to that. And I do believe that that's why this year you and I, that we reconnected in our friendship. And I do believe it had a lot to do with me coming back to my connection with God. Because, when you and I had met, it was what, like almost 2 years ago, but life and paths and timing, we were not in the depths of like connecting truly deeply yet. And when we started to reconnect was when I was, going in my Tantra journey. And we finally were at this place where we connected and I was opening up, and we had so many crossovers of our journey. And I was like, why did we not talk about these things before? But there's this fear of vulnerability and not being seen like authentically again, right? That like wasn't happening. And when we went there, and I knew about your closeness to God, and at the time, like I had drifted from God, and like he was always there foundationally, but I was much more in the esoterics and the spiritual realms. And in the last couple of months, I had many things, as you know, that had happened for me, and just like personally behind the scenes with family, that like all I had left was to turn back to God and be, I have nothing that I can do, nowhere I can go except to turn it all over like on a platter, like here's my hands, and be like, I'm just gonna pray because there's nothing left. And it was the most humbling but also the most peaceful I had felt in so long. All of the years of spirituality and meditating and plant medicine really can't compare to the peace that I found in returning and reintegrating my connection to God and that prayer source, and finding a way to blend the two, because I still do believe that we have this higher connection with, Goddess, and the history that she holds for us that I've seen throughout, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, what is the esoterics, what is the power of, plant medicine, and what is, our biblical belief in God. And I can't deny either. And I'm now learning how to walk with the two together. So when we reconnected, and I was like so excited to tell you, I was like, I went to church and I found a Bible study, because like you were someone I knew that I was like, wow, I actually have this friend in my life that I can share this with. And it was so excited to be refinding this within myself, and like stepping into this next chapter, this new version of me. But again, it's just another layer of the waking up and
Mm.
finding back into myself that we're all, hoping to do.
Constantly, yeah, shedding old layers and a lot
Mhm.
of unlearning too, along with the learning, and or I should say like remembering probably, because I definitely believe in past lives and the Akashic records and knowing all of the, they say that nothing's actually new. We already know everything, but it's like a remembering of those lifetimes we've lived in the past, and we're born with amnesia, when we reincarnate into Earth, if you believe that. And, it was never God that kept me away. I felt like I've always, believed in God and or consciousness or higher power, whatever you call it, nature, the universe. It was actually like crazy Christians that I had met that had kept me from away from organized religion. I felt like I had met like poor representatives of Christ. And I still had more answers, and everything I uncovered made sense and strengthened the argument for Christ. Like it didn't take away. And I wish like that's something I wish I could tell all Christians. Like, listen, let people find their way on their own. Like you don't have to shove a Bible down their throats. Like I remember like when I would read angel cards or tarot cards or whatever, like I had instances where people would call me and be like, "You're in league with the devil." And you know what I mean? I'm like, "Well, I'm not in league with Satan, but thank you for asking." This is just so silly, it's more like tapping into your subconscious mind. It's okay. And I think, who the hell knows what has actually been taken out of the Bible. They say allegedly like Reiki was, what Jesus Christ did, like the laying on the hands of healing and channeling energy. And he was like I can do these miracles, but so can you. Like I am, God, but so are you. Like all these things, like we are all sparks of divine. And like I think a lot of the magic and the how to get to those spiritual connections has been removed from those sacred texts, because for a long time, you have to think people still grapple for power and political and religious authority this today. Imagine how much more barbaric it was like thousands of years ago when they were like, cross that out, cannot have the people thinking for themselves. Like they didn't even allow them to read the Bible, So no wonder people like us who are deep thinkers and feelers and healers go looking for answers elsewhere because we're like, that doesn't make sense. There has to be more to the story than that. And like, where's the magic? I know it's there because I'm magic and I'm a spark of divine. I'm a spark of God. And if I'm magic, God's magic. Like, don't take the magic out of this story. So when I went looking for those answers, like I found all the magic pieces, not all of them. I found enough that I was like, okay, I'm good with this. This is cool. And now the church that I go to, like my pastor is super cool. Everybody's so cool. I'm in the church choir. There's like 80 people I meet with every week and we're just all on the same page. And I always thought that I was like too different, to be with the goody goodies at church. Like I was like, no, that's for the goody goodies. That's not me. I'm the black sheep. But then I found out, I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people feel the same way that I do. Like they're cool, they're real, they're fun. Like I guess you just find your tribe like anything else. But I'm like, where have you guys been all my life? Like just authentic humans. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And it's been a beautiful journey, one I'm excited to keep walking on.
Yeah. And I think like, that speaks volumes, but like, because of the time that you put into yourself, you found the right church and the right community that not only welcomed you, but you were ready to also receive them, because they
Yeah,
were all there, right? Like the tribe is always there waiting to welcome you back home.
true.
But you had to go through your journey, right? The shedding, the fire, the initiation, the shadow. It's a perfect example right now being we're closing out winter, that inner underworld journey of Persephone being down there, of claiming herself, about to emerge with spring, being like, the rightful queen of the underworld. Here I am in all of my magnificent glory. And then everyone is there waiting to receive you. And without doing all of those initiations first, you would be like, I am the forever lonely black sheep in my
Yeah.
introvertedness. No, it's like, this is such a story. It's like we're just like, but like that's the story we tell ourselves, one, to survive, and also to like make it easier on our hearts to help us keep going so that eventually one day we reach a point where the hurt becomes too much and then we start to take an actionable step. And whatever that step looks like, whether it is reaching out to someone, a community, a group, church, a retreat, something, but eventually you just find one person or one sticking point because the ache becomes unbearable.
Yeah, and well, I think hopefully we can retrain ourselves to no longer wait till the point where like, oh my gosh, my hair's on fire, or the rug was pulled out from under me. And that's a thing I've learned the hard way too many times where I stayed in maybe a toxic relationship too long past its expiration date, or ignored the whispers until they became screams of like, leave this job or make this move or do this or do that. So I think as humans, we have to learn how to not only embrace the discomfort, but also to move our feet. You're not You're not planted. You don't have roots. You can go. It's okay. We're so resistant to change though. Like, but I don't know what that is. I know this hell. This is fine because I already know what this is. That's I don't know what waits around the corner. Even though it's probably infinitely better than what we know now, you know? Crazy. I would psych myself out like just go. Now I just go. I move.
Yeah, like less thinking, more doing, because the second the brain comes onto the process, you're like, wait, okay. And then you're thinking, you're overthinking. And then before you know it, you're like, yeah, forget it. Like, not even worth the time. It's just like you can't, like, sometimes you can't put your head into the process. And for me, when I was going through, I was doing a Kundalini energy training, and the biggest thing for me, and even when I went on some, like, several of my first retreats, and you know how I've explained it to people when they kind of ask me, you know, because they're like, is it like Reiki? And I'm like, it's similar but very different, because it's basically taking from where we're at within like this separation point, you know, because we kind of, through life, through trauma, through experiences, this like line comes between these two parts of ourselves. And it allows us to get out of our heads and the overthinking and the overdoing and drop back into our hearts, into this state of being. And that can
Mm.
be very passive. It can be an active state, but it's a conscious activeness through your intuition, through that inner gnosis that is not fear, but is that grounded truth where your sacral and your solar plexus and your root are all like the holy trinity, like locked in together and are working for your highest good, for everything that you desire to do in your life, that you are meant to be. And so I'm like, it gives you that chance to bring everything back into alignment, that you are tapped in, so that you can let anything go that doesn't serve you, that all of those parts, those stories, those programs, the trauma that we don't even know we're carrying, that has manifested. And a lot of it is just fear, right? It's that, the pause, the clenching, you know, the like, you're like, oh my God, my butt cheeks are like, you know, your stomach drops and you're just like, oh, and you just like don't do anything. And I'm just like, you take a minute, it's literally none of that is you. That is a programming from somewhere, from some time,
Mm-hmm.
and you've just adopted it. That's it.
Amen, sister. Amen. I love that. And, you know, it doesn't have to be this big, ridiculous release either. I mean, it can be, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it is really powerful and emotional, but like you can just release things in an instant. You can just be like, hey, I don't even know what that is. I don't need to know. I can cut that cord. I can allow myself space and you're free to go. Like I release you. Maybe it's a person or family member energetically. Like I just forgive and release you. I don't even know what's messed up here. I'm going through something right now. I go to a biological dentist and she has a bioscan machine. And so you put your hand on it, it scans you for all these frequencies, and then it comes back and it's like, blah, blah, blah. You could have a hernia, you could have past life stuff, you could have this program, and it scans all your frequencies. And then you put like a vessel of liquid on it and it reprograms the frequencies into this liquid. And you do shots of it a couple times a day. Yeah, so it's really intense. So I started doing that, and then like a week into it, and it also like sends you and emits these frequencies like, you know, to through the ethers, like to your body. So I do this for like a week, right? I'm like doing these shots, and like Nick, like my fiance, is looking at me, and I'm like drinking this bottle of saline. I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing shots in the middle of the night, whatever. And he's always like, God, what is she doing? He's like Catholic, conservative man. Like, God, what is she doing now? So, but it like opened something up in my like my second chakra, and I used to have ovarian cysts when I was like a teenager, unbelievably painful. And so all of a sudden the other night, one like burst while I didn't even know still had them, and one like ruptured during my show on Saturday. So I went to the ER, spent the night in the hospital, and then they did all these scans, and I have another like dermoid cyst on the other side that didn't hurt. And I know it was these frequencies that brought out this old stuff. And at first I'm pissed off. I'm like, oh my God, why did I take that stuff? Who knows what it brought up? But now I'm like, well, it was always there, and who knows what it could have turned into if it didn't. Everything's being, like you said, layers being brought to the surface so I can release and heal them. I don't know what it's from. I really don't want to even dig into it and unpack more crap that I've already, you know, cleaned out. I thought I cleaned these closets and these attics out years ago, 20 years ago. So now I'm going back into like, go back to the basics: fasting, Reiki, forgiveness, love, release. That like I know I have these tools and I know that they work. It's just been a while since I've been like, tested and forced to walk my talk. You know, I tell other people, I'm like, oh yeah, just do all this stuff. And then I'm like, shit. I have to go back in, take my own advice, and do all this stuff. So I'm like in the throes of that right now. So I stopped doing the frequencies because I'm like, okay, whoa, 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 pump the brakes, one thing at a time. All right, like practice what you preach, Adrian. Go in and just do what you know works and pray. Now I have the power of my church too. My church was praying for me, which I was like, oh. They're like, we all prayed for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Crazy stuff. More unpacking.
That is wild. First off, I'm like, I need that number. I'm always here for a new thing. I'm like this little contraption device thing. I'm like, I want to try this frequency thing out. But like what I think is so cool about all of that, right? It's like you release something, you unpacked it, and there's this whole thing where you're like, crap, no, like what happened? What just unlocked? What just like, why did I do this? And then on the flip side, it's like, oh my gosh, amazing. Thank God it's gone. And like, there's nothing to overanalyze. There's nothing to be like, what was it? Where did it come from? Should I journal about it? No, like sometimes there's nothing we need to do beyond being like, wow, thank you so much for like my body feeling safe finally for this to come and then go. And, you know, like you could do a little prayer, you could do a ceremony, go for a walk. Like we're so blessed that we live by the ocean, put your feet in the sand, you know, like, and it can be as simple as that. You know, like it doesn't have to be big sessions, big ceremonies. The mindfulness and the gratitude alone goes such a long way that, you know, people are always like, I need to go do some big thing. And I'm like, you literally don't. We overcomplicate life and healing. And sometimes we're afraid when we're healing because it hurts so much, sometimes even more than the actual thing we went through because we didn't give ourselves space to like process it in the moment. So the healing, because the holding is for so long that you're like, oh, you know, because the symptoms we don't know. Like the cyst could have been a manifestation of anything. But, you know, if the cyst now decided this was the time because your body was in a space that it was aligned and ready. Amazing. Thank God. And you have a community around you that held you. Now it's like gratitude, gratitude, and then life moves on. And it's
Yeah.
just, it really is that simple when we really break it all down. And
Dig into it. I have one second. I have my Louise Hay book. I want to see what she says cysts are because I forget. I know it's like repressing the feminine or something. I don't know. Hang on one second. Okay. Yeah, because I've always gotten like wicked period cramps like my whole life. And I
me
thought
too.
I was,
I like vomit from them sometimes. I actually
oh,
started doing NADIVs and those really helped. But, you know, it's like we're not so like we shouldn't even know they're happening.
correct. And yes, and it makes sense like for me like the you know feminine energy like I've always been in my masculine to survive. I've always been in fight or flight mode my whole life until just recently and my I have my fiance to thank for that. He's really helped me hold space so I can soften into my feminine energy. But yeah, it's crazy. Like and then also I think we talked about this before. Like I only ever got praise in my life when I was like hard worker, making money, doing running businesses, doing the thing. That's the like first time I ever got, wow, you're doing a good job, you know, at a girl. So it makes sense, of course, that I would dive into that. But now I'm like, I don't need approval for how hard I can take a hit. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, ovaries. So, for those of you who haven't read Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, it is such a beautiful book and very beautiful illustrations. And it's got just a wealth of knowledge in here, but there's also an index in the back of all these different ailments, the thought patterns that cause them, and then the new thought pattern to release. The energetic reason why we get sick is always emotionally because we're holding on to old beliefs, old traumas, and then they manifest in different ways in the body through pain often. And really, our body's just communicating with us like, hey, I need some love and it's time to release this. So this helps me. But her main thought pattern is I love and approve of myself. And she figured out that that covers almost everything. Put my glasses on. Ovaries represent point of creation and creativity. And how funny, this is like my year of creation, creative energy. I've been saying like, I'm going to be soft. So maybe this is something that I needed to release in order to step into, you know, true creation connection in that chakra. So the
Mm.
ovaries represent point of creation, creativity, new thought pattern to heal is I am balanced in my creative flow. I wonder if they have like cysts though too. Have you ever had that? Have you ever had the ovarian cyst? Or you said you have really bad cramps?
Yeah, I had the last really really bad one I remember having one when I was in high school, and I didn't know what it was when it ruptured, but I remember being on the floor thinking I was dying and then going
Dying.
to the hospital and them telling me what had happened, and it was terrifying. But as you just kind of like read that little snippet of, what it is, it makes me think about, when there is a cyst there, it is a block of energy. Like, it blocks the energy, it stops flow, and it kind of creates a disharmony. So for you to want to be in creativity, to be in flow, to be in connection, that cyst can't exist. It,
Mm,
right? It's disharmony in the body. So for you doing this work and, saying like, this is my year of flow, this is my year, like, you allowing yourself to be a little bit softer and a little bit more feminine, that gave your body a safe place to settle and to allow it to be like, okay, we can let this go. We don't need this, because now the feminine is safe to come into her biggest expansion. So it created this like rupturing, which of course, as we're like literally right in that like step over, and we had, what was it, the like 222 portal that just
yes.
passed as well, which literally because I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and we're like stepping into massive like beautiful business strategies and things together, and I was looking it up. And the biggest thing about that portal, which, because you were in the hospital this weekend and it was this weekend, was creativity.
Oh,
So,
wow.
the overlap of that timing, I'm like, that's not a coincidence.
Honestly, it never is.
Mm-mm.
So check out, so cramps, tension, fear, gripping, holding on. The new thought pattern is I relax and allow my mind to be peaceful. And then cysts are the probable cause, running the old painful movie, nursing old hurts, and a false growth. And the new thought pattern is the movies of my mind are beautiful because I choose to make them so. I love me. That makes so much sense. Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to replay those old stories too sometimes. And my brother taught me this trick to just think about a stop sign. Like when you're overthinking, he's like, I'll just picture an actual stop sign and then think about all the details of it, like the outline, like the stop, and so I've been doing that, and that's helped me to just be like, no, thank you. We don't need to overthink this. Let it go.
Yeah, that's really good. Sometimes we need a very big, loud, and red, aggressive
Bah.
thing in our face to stop us. Like, if we can't get bitch slapped across the face, we might as well get like the big red stop sign.
Yeah, I always think, do you remember the Foo Fighters video for Everlong where he like grows that big hand? He's in a dream and then he just walks around like bitch slapping everybody. He's like, it's great. Dave Grohl. Yeah. But anyways, I picture that too. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel like I just wish I had that big, big mitt so I could walk around bitch slapping everybody that got in my way in life. But, and myself sometimes too. Need a little cosmic bitch
Same,
slap. Like, no, bitch, chill. Yeah.
same,
So,
same.
man, wow, that was actually, even just talking about that was cathartic, you know? And I'm sure like so many women experience this. It's so common because every woman I tell, they're like, oh my gosh, I had those too. Oh my gosh, I had this too. Or experiences that. But like, and even you just saying the word flow, I mean, of course, it's connected to, like period flow. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Well, for us as women, right? Like, we're all put on this earth to create, right? And if we're not going to create life, because not everybody is meant to be a mother. I know for me, I have no calling to be a mom. And I know that for a fact. I feel that in my body. And, that is okay. I'm going to create in many other ways. So for other women, we know we're going to create artistically, through music, through philanthropy, through businesses, through giving back to the community. So
Mm-hmm.
when we are in alignment with what we are meant to be doing on this earth, that is creative, that is purposeful, that is mission driven, when our body is in that creative flow and we are in that alignment, then that, with our hormones, with our period, with our cramps, are also in flow, because our blood is our life force. Like, it moves through our body, but also when we shed every single month, it's going but did you live your purpose? Are you in alignment? And it's like the visceral squeeze is also drawing our attention, right? It's like if we don't pay attention to our body when it hurts, the hurt gets louder. So our cramps are also drawing that attention in to be like, hey, did you live intentionally? Did you like create this month? Did you do the things I put you here to do that are for you to go out into the world and do and be for your highest good? And if you didn't, it's like squeeze, you know? So it's almost like, you know, and I learned this through some other teachers as well of like that connection point. So it's almost, you know, if women started to kind of guinea pig it for themselves, even if it was something small to start, you know, like art, music, poetry, just anything that allowed them to be in a creative flow, their bodies would have a softening and there would hopefully be less pain, less suffering. I do still get cramps myself, but I have found relief, of course, through, you know, a lot of holistic support. But the more I lean into the things that bring me alive, the less me and my body suffer.
Totally. Yeah, and everything starts to flow within your body and externally too. And there's so many things that inhibit and keep people stuck in the matrix, right? Like it's like impossible. It's like, can I just not die today or be poisoned by air and water? Everything, the birth control, even if you're not taking it, like it's in the city water and all the prescription pills thank God they just took fluoride out of Florida water. So hopefully we'll see some of the pineal glands, decalcifying. But like if you try to talk to people about certain social events and you can just like see the fluoride stare sometimes, and just, what? Never mind. Can't talk to the muggles
Yeah.
about that.
No, definitely you can't. They're just
Yeah,
like, and
no,
we're gonna
yeah,
just glaze over that topic.
yeah. So yeah, there's so much that keeps us, stuck in these patterns, even if we want the release, like that there's so much that you have to do. And that's why release and healing, it's such a journey and it's a lifelong process. And I'll be a student of it until the day I leave this planet. Because even when you're working through the soul, then you have like the physical element of it, where we're having to detox from all the microplastics and the heavy metals and parasite cleanses and the food that we eat and the GMOs, our toiletries, our products we use every day. It's there's so much that goes along with that stripping down and awakening and allowing our true essence to shine through. I think that that's why we really need each other. We really need to connect with like-minded individuals, and we're meant to be tribal. Humans are meant to be tribal creatures, and we're not meant to be just shut in our houses by ourselves all the time. Like, it was so common when we were growing up that like our neighbors would stop by, or like my parents would be like, hey, the key's under the mat. Can you water my plants? We're going out of town for a week or whatever, get the mail. And people would stay connected. And I think that we're seeing a return to that because we're kind of done being lonely and isolated and believing in that illusionist separation. It's better when we're together, when we need each other. And I'm having so much fun being with my sisters, like my beautiful divine sisters. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for you and the other women I've connected with and have in my life. Like it feels so good and I love you all so much and it just feels so like soft. It's like a warm blanket from the dryer. That's what it feels like when I'm with like my beautiful feminine friendships. It's amazing.
Yeah. I was talking with a girl yesterday. She's a newer friend, and we were chatting around like the exact same topics, and I was like, there's something that just hits different about having a woman, because eventually we'll all reach that point where we, hopefully end up with that one partner that will be your forever. But until then, like, relationships will come and go, but your girls, the right girls, will be there through every chapter, every layer, every version, and they will love you, support you, hold you, like, and they'll be a ride or die. And it's a different type of love and a different type of relationship that no male friendship can ever cross, can ever understand. And guys always joke, they're like, yeah, they have this weird language and they do these weird things and they have these girls' nights. And like, I don't understand it. It is like we have our little, like, we get together and we do our little witchy things and our little tents. And, it's like, it's a reminder of this coming home. I think about, I love Greek mythology. So that's kind of my reference point always, where I think about the beautiful temples that the women would gather in and they would do the sacred rites and just, have beautiful ceremonies and connect. And meditate and listen and gather, in whatever capacities that they were doing that in. And it was sacred and it was honored.
Hmm.
And no one else was allowed in beyond those points. And now, you see groups popping up everywhere that women are gravitating towards. And I love also the co-ed cohorts because, again, balance. I love the two coming together, but there is something so powerful that you're like, but also I just want to go and have a little sisterhood time because it grounds me, and then I'll like come back and do this thing over here too and like be empowered in my masculine and feminine flow states.
Yeah, I love that. And I love men too. Like my best friend is a man. We've been best friends forever since we were young. But other than him, like I have male friends that I've known since like childhood and we're friends. But other than those, like my crew, like my guys, um, it's hard to be friends with men when you have the realization that they still just want to sleep with you. Most men, like they're like, oh yeah, no, 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 we're friends. But like if you break up with him, like I'm here. Most men, it's hard to find true friendships where there's no sexual tension. At least for me, anyways. Now I have masculine friends which are like couples, which is awesome. It's nice, it's beautiful. But like I would never go hang out as a woman who's about to be married with a dude by myself and like make new male friends. To me, it would just, I don't know. It's not for me personally. But like I realized, in my like late 20s, I was like, all these guys that I say, oh, it's just so easy to be with guys. It's so easy to hang out with them. And it's like, well, yeah, because they're hanging around long enough to see if you'll sleep with them. And that's why it is so nice to just be around women because we don't have that energy of like someone like expecting or hoping or waiting or there's no like it's not performative, it's just genuine. Like there's no expectations, it's a recognizing of your soul that men can never understand. Like you said, like we do all of our ceremonies and stuff, like I mean our organs link up for Pete's sake. Like they have an energetic system where our cycles connect with one another's. Like that is magic. If people don't believe in magic, like that's crazy. It's a beautiful thing that all women share.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I do hear what you're saying, when you are in a committed relationship, going out necessarily and being like, yeah, and I like met this like random single guy and he wants to be my friend. And the guys, and your boyfriend or your fiance would be like, really? I would feel the same way if my boyfriend went out and was like, yeah, this girl and I, like, we became friends. And I'd be like, let me meet your friend.
Yeah.
But I there is something so beautiful. And I think about the guy friends in my life, whether or not, at certain points throughout our friendship months and years, there was attraction. Obviously, like it's human nature. We are like animal
We are
creatures,
animals.
instinctual
Yeah.
at our core, and very primal. But also, the capacity that us as women have to initiate men. And I'm reading this book right now and it's a Kabbalah book called God Wears Lipstick. And, it talks about how the woman is the vessel that receives the light and the masculine is the light. And sort of like the light is the giver. And he can give and give and give. And it kind of is just like chaotic. But the woman is the vessel that contains it. Like she is the grounding force, almost like the coming home to, right? Like
Mhm.
she is what takes the house to the home and makes it something beautiful for him to land. And I kind of think about male and female friendships like that, is that sure, initially there may be some chaoticness around too much light, too much energy, too much friction, let's say, but give her and it a moment and it can be contained properly. And she's like, hey, let me help you contain this. Let me give you direction. Let me give you focus, because I can give you permission to land softly, to feel more intentionally, to connect to the parts of you that have been craving to be seen, to be held, to expand into your emotions, where maybe in your masculine friendships you can't do that, or at your home you don't have space to do that either, depending on how you were raised. So I do think there's something so beautiful in the right containers for that,
Mhm.
but it does take a lot of time and a lot of work to get there, because we have to get past the primal to get to the intentional.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're just animals sniffing around all the time.
Right, we're
For
all just
this.
sniffing butts at first until we like lock in and we're like,
Basically. Yeah.
Let's do life now.
Yeah, and I think that there's 100% like a stage for that. And I think that those people will always find each other. I've been that person at times in my life, in my 20s when I was for my male friendships. Yeah. So you can have that dynamic and you do need that. You're right. You need the balance of divine feminine, divine masculine. Even though if you're just friends, you have to get past like the sexual energy of it because there's so much beauty when you get past that. When you get past like the thinking about an orgasm for the 30 seconds of bliss you're going to have, like that's just scratching the surface of what's possible when you really get into like working with the energy and feeling that and allowing that. And yeah, they say, um, I've always liked this Native American quote, the woman's highest calling is to connect a man back to his soul or to lead a man back to his soul. And it's the man's highest calling to protect the woman so she can walk the earth unharmed. And, you know, I love that we do need both, like your scales, the balance, light, dark, masculine, feminine. We definitely all have our roles to play for sure. And you'll get characters, I think, throughout your journey that fill those certain roles so your soul can evolve and learn those lessons. And I think they come right when you need them. You know, the teacher shows up when the student's ready. So maybe if people are on this journey, I think like if you were looking for a step, like just ask. I always just ask for everything. Like, hey, can you give me a message and not the frying pan this time? Can it be like a nice butterfly landing on me? Nothing crazy like last time. And like
Just a
give
gentle feather across the face would be
yes,
lovely.
you know, the beauty in a sunset, like a baby's giggle, something nice. Not like the like I've had in the past. But yeah, it definitely feels good to be like stepping into that space with supportive friendships around. And I thank you for being one of those friends for me. And I hope to continue to walk that path with you as well. And it makes life so worth it. Like life is worth living when you have companionship with the right people.
100%. Like it's the tribe, it's the community, and it's people that, you know, you can go into the depths with and will truly see you and hold you and you can be real with, you know, that you can pick up the phone and they'll either give you the best advice ever or they'll just hold space for you. And that is the best gift. And I'm so grateful for this friendship that we've been, you know, so blessed to like keep evolving into as we reconnected, you know, last year, but for friendships that have depth. Because for
Mm.
me, I've gotten older and what I've appreciated more now, you know, I have not minded, you know, superficial connections, but now I'm like I want depth. I am very intentional with my time, like I said at the beginning, you know, it's slow and soft girl era, but with that intention is also depth. And if I can't have depth with you and you don't want to meet me there, I don't have time for it because I have family, I have friends, I have my boyfriend. And if you want in and I want to let you in, then you have to go there too. Otherwise, maybe come back later. But I'm not in my 20s and I don't need 500 people filling up my inbox to fill space. I'm good. I'd rather stay at home and watch Netflix and sleep at this point. So, like, let's be intentional.
I love that you said that. I have this girlfriend who is amazing, amazing human, but she's always like willing to give people so much room and so much, even when they like, you know, screw her over. And I'm like, well, why? And she's like, because I never want to be the person who quit on that. And she believes in people. I'm like, that's great, but I'm the opposite. You know, I'm like, I was trying to find an analogy, and the best I could come up with was like having a closed door. Like we lock our front doors so we don't get robbed. We don't let the wrong people in our house, right? Because they don't always have good intentions for you. And with certain
Yeah.
people, not everybody wants to give to you. Some people just want to steal and take your time and just drain you and rob your life force energy. And like you said, like we all have businesses. Like I'm busy, I'm in love, I'm planning a wedding. You know, my fiance and I sit on different boards and committees and stuff. Like, I love my family. I have, you know, my kitties I spend time with, and like I just don't have time for your BS. Like, you better like get on this train, or we're not in alignment. I'm not going to waste my time by just placating people. And I've had to do that recently. I had a two friend dates with someone, and she was just so like talked over me, just so rude, very bossy, like physically like pushed me around, like grabbed me and stuff. I was just like, oh my God. Like, what is happening right now? And but like still wants to hang out and is like, you better
Really?
set time now. Like it's your turn. And I'm like, like bye, block and delete. That I haven't had that in a long time. That was very intense. But yeah, like just lock the door. Like not everyone gets to come into your life. They have to earn their keep at this point because you've done so much work on yourself. Like I know who I am. I'm very empowered. And if you want access to me, you're going to have to, you don't have to make my life better, but you can't make it worse, you know? Like you can't come in here and mess up my program. Like not everyone
Mhm.
deserves access to you because you are top shelf goods and you've done the work to elevate yourself to that level. And you don't go back into like Walmart basement bin to rumble around for, anything for scraps. Like, no, we don't do that. Top shelf.
I love that analogy so much.
I'm going to wrap this up so you can get back to your life, doing all the wonderful things that you're doing. And I thank you so much for honoring me and our viewers with your sacred energy and your beautiful, wild, but graceful, feminine energy. Thank you for all the wisdom that you've shared. I love the way that you put things. I think you have a very relatable, down to earth voice, but also a very old soul. And I know people will benefit from hearing what you have to say. And maybe we'll have to do a round two because I feel like we could go on for hours talking about this stuff.
Yes, please. I would love that. And thanks for having me. This was so much fun. I could ramble on for hours. So I'm glad that there is a time clock with this because I have no chill when it comes to talking. But
Oh, because it's
I
so
had so much.
exciting. We don't always get space to do this. Like, really? Go? I can talk about anything? Sex? Aliens? What do you want to talk about? Yeah, wormholes? Where are we going?
Mysticism done. Dive in. Take me
Done,
in the rabbit.
baby. Yes, let's go. Take me now. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate you and I see you and I'm grateful for you. And I hope you have a beautiful day and we will chat again soon.
Sounds good, girl. Love you.
Bye. Huggies, smoochies.